Hi, I'm Lisa, and I am going to share this kind of personal story of my journey with Iboga because I feel like it's very important for the world to know what kind of plant medicine this is and how useful it can be to your life. It is actually in four parts, and all four parts are in this video. So if you kind of cycle through, you can see where one starts if you don't want to watch the whole thing. Part one and two are explaining what Iboga is and the prep of my journey, and part three or four and four are actually what I experienced during the medicine. So I guess the first thing I would like to say is what Iboga is. I have asked people from different socioeconomic status, strangers, friends, family, and not one person had known what Iboga is and how it works. So it is considered a psychedelic, it's a plant medicine, and it is in its own category. So it's a little tricky because when you think of a psychedelic, you think of a fun trip. You think of maybe mushrooms or like a good time. Um, so Iboga is in all this category of these same plant medicines, but it is not any of those things I just mentioned at all. It is, like all psychedelics, it's an anti-addictive substance, meaning it's not something that you could ever become addicted to. You wouldn't have a little bit and then need a little bit more and then increase and increase. It just doesn't work like that. And the difference is in mushrooms and having a fun trip, or like let's see, mushrooms. What else? San Pedro is another one that's from a cactus, derived from a cactus. Ayahuasca. Those are all things that take you on an adventure. And yes, it can be fun. Yes, it could be a good time. You could have some physical side effects, but in general, you kind of go with the medicine. You take the medicine and you go where it goes. It takes you wherever it wants to go. So the way that Iboga is different is that it's more like something that is self-guided. So where did I put it? It's like a self-driving spaceship, it's been called. So you go into the medicine and you are in control. Meaning, when I was laying there under the influence of Iboga and I had my eye mask on and it was complete darkness and I was hearing the music, I could lift my mask up, talk to somebody, put it back, and then get back into it. I could say, "Hey, I got to go to the bathroom. Can you take me there?" And they have to escort you because what does happen with your physical body is it gives you like a kind of, I mean, I'm using the word paralysis, but it's not really paralysis. It just makes you want to stay still. You do not want to move. I was very comfortable. I didn't want to get up and go anywhere. And I personally did not have to get up and use the bathroom or get up for any reason. But I did flip my mask up and talk to somebody. Like Chad came over to me and tapped my shoulder, and I was like, he's like, "How's it going?" And I was like, "It's crazy in here." I was like, "What do I do?" It's all like cycling through, and I can't get something to stop and focus. And so he kind of like told me a tip on how to get into the flow. So you are not altered, you are not drunk, um, you're not in that kind of fun experience like that. You are in complete control. So it's kind of like you tune into a completely different frequency, and it's known as a physiological washing machine. So it's affecting your mind. If it's affecting your soul, um, you're really going through a lot of emotions. And then your physical, everybody reacts differently, and it depends on your metabolism. It depends on how much you had to eat or drink. It depends on your soul's condition, basically how much trauma you have, how much how open you are to the experience, how ready you are for the experience, any expectations you have. If you have a certain expectation, like, I need to see this, or I want to see this, or I want to deal with this, then you kind of have less chance of actually dealing with that, because your mind needs to be completely open, your hands need to be wide for to accept whatever comes to you. And I just happen to be in the right space in the right moment, and so my experience with Iboga was profound and life changing, and kind of hard to put into words. I'm going to try, but I say that because I was ready for the space. I did some work. I had a close relationship to God already. Um, I understand that I am part of the universe, and I'm just a little, trying to make my way here. All those things I had an understanding of, and I was ready for whatever. I have never done psychedelics. I mean, I tried mushrooms once, but I did not work. I I don't really have experience with drugs other than marijuana. So, for me, I was a complete newbie. So some of the people that came with me on this experience, like that I met, that were part of this, they have done all the things. They've done mushrooms and ayahuasca and all the stuff, and so they were looking for what people call the grandfather of psychedelics, which is iboga. It's like nothing that anyone's experienced. It's supposed to be on a total class of its own. So, how we all came to this was completely different, and so we all had, just like everyone's experience was like a fingerprint. It was all different, and they told us, not to expect to all have visions. It's just not the way it works. But no matter what, when you ingest a medicine and you are sitting there, it is doing something inside you, even if you don't have visions, even if you don't see what I saw, which was, amazing visuals. But if you don't see visuals, you rest assured that the medicine is inside you, and it's basically cleaning, scrubbing, getting rid of excess, getting rid of damage, getting rid of broken, and kind of like creating a a unique experience where you are susceptible for neuroplasticity, making new pathways, making your neurons go different directions and connect in ways that it hasn't. So that's the positive. No matter what you see or don't see, it is cleaning you out. So it's also anti-inflammatory, which is one of the big reasons that I found out about it, because I have a lot of inflammation with my, due to my eye condition. So when you don't see it, it's working. And they said, don't focus on the results, focus on the medicine being in you, and knowing that your vibration is changing and your cells are changing from the inside. And it's like iboga is a catalyst for neuroplasticity, a catalyst for change. And I think most people are seeking change in their life. Most people want to go deeper. Most people want to get better. And Iboga is the catalyst for those things. So that's part one. Okay, so I've been medically screened. I've come on from my medication. Now I'm ready to travel. So I travel to Costa Rica. I come a little bit before the retreat. Then I'm picked up in the van, and there are 7 other people besides me. So there's 8 of us all together. We are from all kinds of different places: Colorado, Iowa, a couple from Switzerland, a lady from Indonesia, and who am I forgetting? Um, anyway, we're from all over the place. And most people were singles. They do suggest that if you want to receive this medicine, that you come alone, not with a friend, not with a spouse, because you really do start, like, depending on your experience and say whoever you're with, you're going to compare. You're going to be like, oh, they didn't get what I got, or oh, I got this and I got that. It's just, that comparison is just natural, and it's not good to do that for your own journey. So it's just better to be single, be by yourself when you go. And I was very glad that I was alone when I experienced this. So when you first get there, we had our own individual rooms. They had a sound machine, a light machine, earplugs, a fan, an extra blanket, pillows. Like they are no stranger to this process. They are experts. They know exactly what you're going to need, and they make sure you have everything you need. I felt very cared for. I felt very safe, and the actual place, the house, is just perfection. The way that the nature is, you're surrounded by nature and fruit trees, and they actually had 70 or so Iboga trees that are not, ready to be harvested yet, but they grow this fruit on it, this orange fruit. So that's kind of cool, because the part of the Iboga plant that we ingest is the root bark. So it's basically like they take the shavings and then they make that into a powder, or you can just eat the root. There's all kinds of different ways you can eat it, but it's very bitter, and it's not pleasant in any way. But it's part of the process. So we met everybody. We had a chef that cooked all of our meals, which was maybe my favorite part of the whole trip. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then she had gluten-free snacks, regular snacks, just there, and everything was healthy and nothing was processed. It's just, they did it top notch. So you kind of have a loose itinerary. You don't there's not anywhere you have to be at any specific time. You kind of just listen to your body, and they want you to rest and just immerse yourself. So the second day is when we took the medicine. So that night, we had a fire ceremony where we didn't start until like 9 p.m. It was a very late night. It was on purpose. You're working with the stars and the moon, and the Bwiti. When I say Bwiti, it's Bwiti, and it's a tribe that discovered this medicine in Gabon. They are still alive and well there. People go to do initiations for Iboga in Gabon still today. And so we learned about that for at least an hour and a half, I would say. They don't take this tradition lightly. You don't just come in and take the medicine and take it for what you can get out of it. You really immerse yourself in what the Bwiti tribe believes that this medicine can do and how to accomplish that. So you really have to be, open to this whole process. So then when it's our turn to take the medicine, we all have a bucket because we're going to need it. And we kneel, we each take a turn, we kneel, we say our full name, our mother's full name, maiden name, and our father's full name. Because when you take the medicine, you are taking it with your family in mind, not just yourself, your ancestors and your family. So then as far as taking the medicine, it's on a spoon. And this place where I went, they mix it in honey, and it's like I said, like the root bark, and it's kind of a powder but kind of a root still, and they kind of mix it, and then when it came to your mouth, you just take it fully, you take all of it. It's a lot, and you swallow it. I got 2 spoonfuls and then a capsule while I was waiting, and then you sit, you're all sitting, we're all medicated, we're all waiting, and then um, everybody kind of gets the medicine, reacts to the medicine at different times. So when you do start feeling it, you kind of raise your hand and you say, I'm ready. And then they take you, and you've already created your little space, which is your pillow, your eye mask, your water bottle, all your comfort items are right there. And then you lay down and you just breathe and listen to the music and get ready. It's Bwiti music. It's loud. It's tribal. It's on purpose. It's not meant to be like a super pleasant experience. So I think, the second one to go in. I'm like, my numbs started feeling, my mouth lips started feeling numb. My fingertips, each one of my fingertips was buzzing. And then I started to hear like a little buzz in my ear, which they said is a telltale sign that it's starting. So I didn't know what to expect, of course. I went in, they escorted me in, I laid down. I was so comfortable. I was like, oh, I love this sheet and this blanket. I mean, everything felt so good. And almost the second of putting my eye mask on, I it was like a screen appeared. And on the screen was one thing, an eyeball. And I was just like, wow. I remember saying out loud, I was like, wow, this is so cool. And then just like several eyeballs were just all over the place. And it was like, I was so touched that this is what I came here for. I came here for my eye. And here I am. The first images I'm seeing is an eyeball. I was floored. And of course, I just assumed that everybody that came in, that was coming in one by one, that they were seeing this awesomeness too. So we'll get to that later, but they were, they weren't, is kind of like a mixed bag, but I was seeing something profound. So I saw the eyeball. I was just like, wow. And then I could hear, people coming in one by one and then as I'm there, I hear people start throwing up and purging. And I was like, whew, wow, everyone's having a rough time. And I was thinking, like, I said thank you to my body. Thank you, body, for getting me here and going through this with me. This is amazing. Stay strong, like that kind of thing. And I did succumb to throwing up. It wasn't like a terrible throw up. It wasn't like a lot of volume because the last time I ate was 2 p.m. and I ate light, and now it's say 11 p.m. So it's like there's not much in my stomach to begin with, but there was that Iboga in there with the honey. Like I could feel it. I could feel it. It was like right here. I could just feel it in there. And I didn't want it to come up because I wanted it to stay in there. But anyway, I did throw up like maybe 4 times where I just leaned up, over my bucket, did what I had to do, laid back down, and I was like, okay, breathing through it, And then as soon as I laid back down, I went right back into it. I saw the eyeball. I was just like, wow. And then I could hear, people coming in one by one, and then as I'm there, I hear people start throwing up and purging. And I was like, whew, wow, everyone's having a rough time. And I was thinking, like, I said thank you to my body. Thank you, body, for getting me here and going through this with me. This is amazing. Stay strong, like that kind of thing. And I did succumb to throwing up. It wasn't like a terrible throw up. It wasn't like a lot of volume because the last time I ate was 2 p.m. and I ate light, and now it's say 11 p.m. So it's like there's not much in my stomach to begin with, but there was that Iboga in there with the honey. Like I could feel it. I could feel it. It was like right here. I could just feel it in there. And I didn't want it to come up because I wanted it to stay in there. But anyway, I did throw up like maybe 4 times where I just leaned up, over my bucket, did what I had to do, laid back down, and I was like, okay, breathing through it, And then as soon as I laid back down, I went right back into it. So the first thing that I saw was like, I mean, it really did look like a screen. When I say screen, I'm just like talking about like if you saw a rectangular, if your phone was horizontal and you had it up, that's kind of what I saw, was just like a black screen with that pictures kept coming up on. And it was just on the top part of it, it was just scrolling, like fast, like this fast through pictures. And I couldn't really make out any of the pictures. I was just like, this is wild. There's just like, it's just going. And then I saw another thing that was like more like a circle, like a this way, and it was like a Rolodex type of thing. Again, pictures. And occasionally I could see that those were people I knew and me. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't really see what it was, but I could tell it was like memories and pictures of me. And around that time, Chad came over and he like tapped my shoulder. He's like, Lisa, how you doing? You doing okay? And I flipped my thing off and I was like, this is so cool. I was like, I can't focus on everything. I was like, I see all these pictures, but I can't get anything. Like, I can't get it to focus on anything. And he's like, all right, well, that's normal. He's like, All you need to do is listen to the music, listen to the music, go back to the music. I was like, all right. So got back in there, seeing all the pictures go by, and I just clicked on the music, and the music was like you didn't want to focus on the music because you wanted to focus on what was on the screen. But I specifically went away from that and I started focusing on the music. And it's like there's a beat in there. There's like some clicks. I could hear these two clicks. And when I focused on that music, one of those memories slowed down and then came to focus, and then I saw it. And like a couple things that I saw was like in my childhood, it was like a childhood memory that I had of my mom wearing shorts, like small shorts, and a shirt, and she had, you know, like fluffy brown curly hair. And then it was me and my friend Christy, and we were like wearing these kind of matching terry cloth shorts and in a shirt, and like we're both blonde, you know, and like it's I wasn't in the memory. It was kind of like a spectator of the memory, but I was smiling. Like it felt good to see this memory. Like I don't know how else to describe it, but it was kind of just observing. I was just smiling from it, and then eventually it kind of zoomed out a little bit, and then kept going. And then if I went back to that music, and then tried to focus on something else, then I could focus on one of the memories. So I saw like one time I could feel being in the memory, and I was in the middle, and Annabelle was on one side and Charlotte was on the other side, and Charlotte was like little, like two years old, and Annabelle was however many years old, 10. And they were both on each side, and I could feel the comfort of being in between them. So that was really special. There is I can't really remember anything specifically, but this happened more. Like there were more times that I was sitting in a memory, or I was looking like a bird's eye on a memory. It was really cool, but I didn't. I guess in my mind I was like, I don't understand how this works. Like I wanted to know how this works more, and I was like, instead of just being there and like watching the movie and being entertained, I was like, but how is this working? And so I immediately said, I remember saying in my head, I want to see my mom. Like show me my mom, because I knew that you could ask for, you know, people that had passed. So I was like, show me my mom. And then it would like a picture, a thing would come on the screen of her smile, like some of her smile. Then something would come on her screen of her hand, her hand is unmistakable. And like little things of her were coming on the screen, but nothing that was like her or her face and everything. And I was like, why am I not seeing her? I was like very confused. And then I said, I don't understand how this works. How are we going to heal my eye? What is the cause of my eye? Because that's why I'm here. You know, what is the cause of my eye? And then the next thing was, it was like a circle, like to the left. It was a circle of a, you know, just a plain circle, and then in the circle was somebody I knew, and it would like show me somebody I knew. Then it would show me somebody I knew. And it kept going through like kind of slow, showing me, and every single person was like somebody I knew. It was somebody that was like I knew for a minute. It was an acquaintance. It was somebody in Carolina Beach. It was somebody I came across. It was family. It was my neighbors, you know, just anybody. And then what I noticed as it was cycling through was that every single person had my blue left eye. I was shocked. So I'm watching it cycle through like a Rolodex, you know, and I'm seeing people and I'm recognizing people, and they all have my left eye. I mean, just that alone. I was, as I'm watching it, I was just as surprised as you are when you're hearing this right now. It just seemed like far fetched. It seemed like really out there. So everybody's got the blue eye, and then it's occasionally it would pause when it was going to the next person. And it would be somebody I really love and care about, like my brother and my son and Christy. You know, it would like pause to these people, and it kept going and going and going for seemingly several minutes. Like I swear it was like every person that I've ever known, guys and girls. And then it paused, and it was like cycling really slowly to the next one, and then the next one was my mother, and it was a full picture of her, and she was just like everything about her, and she was smiling really bright, but her left eye was my blue eye, and she looked at me and then closed both of her eyes, and when she opened her eyes were brown and normal, and she was um, smiling, but it wasn't like a still picture. It was like there was motion to it. You know, she was smiling and she was looking at me, and I was looking at her and smiling. And then that faded away, and it just showed my eye. And then the next thing, it zoomed out of that, like kind of cleared it out, and then when I focused on anything, when I went to focus on anything, everywhere I went, like think of a screen and a cursor. You know how when you move your cursor, that's where your attention is? It's like my eyes were the cursor. So when I went left, my eyes went left. When I went right, it went right. It was like controlling the movement with my eyes. So when I would focus on something, it was a brown wall. That's all I could see was it was a brown wall. It's kind of like if you were going scuba diving and you're like watching a wall, and it's just like the whole wall is just brown, and you're just kind of you're going with it, but it's brown. And I was like, what? I don't know what this is. And then um, as I'm looking at this brown wall, like they had squares on the wall, like different, like some were squares, some were rectangles, and then inside every square or rectangle was a tiny square, and it had a red light. So it's like I didn't know. I was like looking up and down, and everywhere I looked was this brown wall, and I didn't understand what it was. And I guess like in my mind, I'm like, what is this? I don't know what this is. And so it zoomed out and showed me that it was kind of like more or less like a box, like it was enclosed of something, and it was this wall. And as I moved, when I focused on that small little box in each box, the red light turned green. Then I would look at the next one, and the little red thing turned green. And every time I focused on the little cube, whether I looked up, down, left, right, when I found the cube, the little square, it went from red to green. As soon as I put my attention on it, it went from red to green. And I didn't know what this was, but we did that for a very long time. And I was getting tired of it, kind of like I was like, where's this going? I was kind of tired of seeing the brown wall, and it would, every time I got tired of doing it, it would zoom out and show me that now most of it was green, but some of it was still red. So then we would zoom back in, and I would go to each one, and I would change the red to the green. And so we did all this, and then it showed me, and then it zoomed out and showed me that the whole contraption, like the whole thing, was all green lights. And I still didn't really know what that meant, but I knew we were there for my eye, and so I kind of in my wits about me, I said, I kind of like felt my eye, and I go, well, it doesn't really feel painful, but that could be anything. Like just because I didn't have pain in my eye, I didn't really. Oh, I'm gonna have to pause it because there's a truck coming. Okay, it's mostly by. So I was feeling my eye. I was like, I don't really feel any pain, but that can't be it. That can't be. I wasn't thinking that was like healing or healed or anything like that. So it backed up. It showed me the box again, and I was like, what does this mean? Is my eye healed? Is this my eye? Is it healed? And then it would back up again and show me the whole thing with green lights, and they were all the green lights were flashing. They were all green, and then it went away. The whole thing went away, and I wasn't like, oh, my eye is healed, like anything like that. I was like, all right, there we go. And then at that point, we've been here for a while now, and I've seen a lot of things, and so I said, who are you? And how are we going to communicate? Like, I don't understand how we're going to communicate. I said, who are you? And it said, oh no, no. I said, yeah, who are you? How are we going to communicate? And then I saw a, like, up came on the screen was like the whole Scrabble board with all the letters. And I was like, all right, we're going to use letters. I like this. And then those kind of like fell off the screen. And then I said, who are you? Who am I talking to? And it said, it had a picture of, oh no, it's spelled out Y-O-U in Scrabble board pieces. And I was like, me? What? I'm talking to my inner self. I'm talking to my inner child. Like I was like trying to think that. And then I said, I was just trying to make sense of it. And then I said, show me God. Where is God? And it went like it was like the cursor was going up and it showed me this bright white light. And then I took my eyes over to the white light and tried to focus on it. Use the music, trying to focus on the light. And it would like go into the light, but it wouldn't like do anything. It wouldn't go anywhere. And then, and I said, who is God? And two pictures of myself came on each side of the screen, and it spelled out again Y-O-U. And it wasn't in that moment that I had like the epiphany, the aha. I mean, I was thinking this was really cool, but I was like later the next day, I really was like ruminating on that of what happened. Is like you always hear the scripture, when you're growing up in the church or you're growing up with any kind of faith, you hear God is everywhere, God is in you, God is with you. Like those are things that you hear, but it's just things that, it didn't really resonate with me too much. It's like, yes, I believe that, but I didn't feel that. But that I understand that the conversation that I had for over 10 hours was a conversation with God. Like that was God in me going back and forth and talking about everything that I needed and everything that I am and every question that I had and every memory I've ever had, every thought I've ever had. It is all stored in your mind. It's all there, and I could recall anything I wanted to in this moment. So it, I understood that I was having a very special conversation. So um, there's a lot of things that I asked, and I'm gonna try to remember all these things. But it was like we went back to my eye. I said, "How am I going to heal my eye?" And it went back and showed me the box thing, the entrapment thing. I don't. It's not even a box. Like I hate to say box, but it's the only word I can think of. But it showed me that with all the green lights, and I was like, "But does that mean healed?" And this is what we did. And we went zoomed in on that wall, and it was the brown wall again. And I was like, "Not the brown wall again." And my focus went to one of those green boxes, and then it took the green box and it inserted a diamond. Then I went to the next green box and it inserted a diamond. And I went up and I went down and I went to the side. And then I had to go on every single box again. And I'm telling you, it was real time. It wasn't like celestial time, it was in real time. I had to go on every single box again until I was done. And then it zoomed out and it showed me that whole thing just sparkling. And I smiled and I cried a little bit and I was like, wow. So, yes, when I say that I know that my eye is healed, I helped heal my eye in individual DNA or, whatever you want to call it. Like I went on every single one. And when I didn't believe it with the green, then God gave me the sparkles and then zoomed back so I could see the sparkles. And I knew that my eye was healed. And I mean, more on that later. But so I remember saying, show me my dad's childhood. That's what I said. Like it was like I wanted to see something cool, you know, and it showed me like a big picture of my dad with his beard, like my dad today with his full smile and his, you know, happy eyes. It just showed my dad, and I smiled, and I was like, oh. And then it kind of tried it went to like where he lived, you know, like I could see it going that way toward in Virginia, and it like wanted to show me something from his childhood, but I couldn't really see it. You know, I couldn't focus on it. I don't know how to explain it. It's like we went there, but then I couldn't see anything about it. So maybe that's because I didn't have the experience of his childhood. I don't really know. But then again, okay, so around this time, one of the leaders came and he sat behind me and he sat down and he's like, Lisa, he's like, I'm going to take you on a little vision thing. He's like, how are you doing? And I'm like, fine. I was like, my eye is healed. I was like, I just healed my eye. And he was like, that's really cool. And I was like, no, really, I did. And he was like, okay. So my questions on my notebook were open, and he was reading some of my questions that I was asking the medicine, you know, like when I was asking these questions, I didn't understand exactly what I was asking, but so it was like asking about like what my purpose is, and you know what message I'm supposed to share with the world, and you know how I'll be fulfilled, how I can help people, you know, that kind of thing. Okay, so now Levi is sitting behind me. He's going on this little vision quest with me. He says, now I want you to go to your childhood house. And when he said that, I was like, I don't know what that means. But I thought of, as soon as I thought of my childhood house, my mind took me there. So then there we were. I don't know how this works. It's just like I said, it's a self-driving spaceship. Like I was driving to the location, and so we got to my childhood house, and he was like, "Find your 6-year-old self, your inner child. We're going to talk to your inner child." And I guess he was taking me through this because a lot of people have like, you know, issues from their childhood and some trauma there, and so you know I was going along with what he said, but I don't really have any trauma of that kind of thing. So I was going through it, and he was like, you know, tell your, you know, thank your inner child for taking you this far, and say you're sorry for anything you didn't get and you didn't receive. I said all the things, you know, I said it out loud actually. Like he would say a line and then I would repeat it. And then he said, now go to North Carolina. And now a map appeared of the United States. And then it went right to North Carolina. And at that moment, I was like, oh, you can go to places. This is really cool. And then we went to my current house, which is, you know, on Kenneth Avenue in North Carolina. And we were like, I was like in front of it, like in front of my house. Like, it's like I was standing there. I was in that moment. And he's saying some other stuff about childhood, but I kind of didn't really do all that. But there's a weird sense of like sound and conversation. Like every time he stopped talking and there was a pause, I thought he left. And then when he started talking about it again, I was like, oh, he's still there. So anyway, he did this for a couple minutes, and then he said, okay, I'm leaving you now. Go have fun. He's like, go anywhere you want to go. And he's like, and go to Gabon and see them doing the ceremony yourself. And I was like, okay. So he left, and I'm like, all right. So I was like, take me to Africa. And it started, the cursor, the focus started going, and it showed me the map. And we went to the map. We went to Africa. And then I was sitting on a wood stool type of thing. And then next to me is the Bwiti, you know, tribe. And they got their full face music. And now I could hear the real music in the room that I was in, and it was like that same thing. Like they were doing that chant. I looked to the left, there's another guy. I looked to the right, there's like, and like we're all sitting in this circle, and it's nighttime, and there's a fire, and they're chanting, and it was just like, wow, this is where they do the ceremony. They're taking Iboga. And then I think the next thing I asked, and I don't remember where I asked to go. It was nothing of significance. I was just asking to go places. And when it took me, this is funny. When it took me, I said, when it like landed, when it was getting ready to land on a place on the map, I said, I was like talking to it like it was Chat GPT. I was like, when you go so fast, I was like, that's too fast. And when I said that, it went faster, like to some random place. It went really fast and then it stops. And it kind of, it like made me laugh out loud because I was like, oh, you want to be funny? Like my conscious, my inner self, God talking with me was making a joke. It was like, oh, you don't want to go fast? I'm going to go faster. And then the next time that we went somewhere, it was slow and nice, like I asked. And it's like I kind of I kind of thought it was treating it like a little interface, like where you could go on a computer, basically. So um, one of the next questions I asked was about myself. And I wanted to know, like, one of my questions that I wrote all these questions for Iboga, and then the last question that I said extra maybe ask, it's like I wanted to ask, but I didn't really want to ask. It was about, like, it said, what role does alcohol play in my life? And what I learned with Iboga is that when you want to ask a question, if you are very specific, it will show you an answer. That question is like very vague. It would try to get somewhere to show me something, but it was hard because that was very vague, and I knew it was vague. So I stopped. It didn't really show me anything I could focus on, and I was like, um, I said, show me a time where I was drunk and blackout and I don't remember. And then the box of Rolodex starts coming and it starts coming and I see my memories going by and I at that point I was like, "Oh shoot. It is really going to show me this moment." And I was getting nervous. And then it picked one, it stopped, it focused in on it, it came into the picture and now I was like a bird's eye on this memory, watching inside, and there was movement, and I could see it was me. It was me, and I could see like my shoes, my feet, my legs. I could just see like a lot of skin, which makes sense because like whenever I'm drinking is usually here at the beach, and we're wearing swimsuits or like little clothing, or we're on the boat or whatever. So it was like gonna show me this memory, and I got scared and I backed out. I was like, I'm not ready for this. And, I kind of wish that hindsight, I wish that I would have stayed and saw because I thought, man, if I see that, I won't be able to go back. Like, I'll be like, no, I cannot do that. But I was too scared to see it. So anyway, whatever happened, I wish I saw it, but I didn't. Um, so then the next question I asked was, what is my most toxic trait? And that is a lot. That is a lot to take in. I didn't even know if I wanted to ask that, but I did. And it quickly started gathering images to show me, and it showed me one thing came on the screen, and it was a bottle of tequila. And I saw it, and I was like, no. And I was like, it's like, I don't know, it was so hard to hear because I'm not a daily drinker. Like I don't drink very often, and I also don't drink when I'm sad or mad. I don't drink because I had a bad day. I literally only drink for good times. Like when it's a good time. When I'm happy, when I'm with my friends, I want to drink more. I want to like that's when I want to drink. So when I saw that bottle of tequila, I was like, no. Ugh. But also I knew it was true. And it didn't mean tequila. It just was like because I mean it was having to pick one drink of the 20 that I love. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't tequila. It was like saying like you know alcohol. So that's a lot to unpack, and I'm unpacking that now. But so okay, I did that for hours. I'm hearing everybody around me just have a real hard time puking. The girl next to me, Jennifer, I had to constantly stop and say, God, please help Jen through this. She really needs this. She really needs these answers. Like, please help her get through this. Unfortunately, Jen did not get any kind of insight during that. She kind of like blocked everything. She did not see anything. She was like, I think she just wanted it so bad that it kind of blocked it. I don't really know about her situation, but so in the morning when it became sunrise, as soon as it's sunrise, they turn off the music and they say, all right, we're coming to get you, and each of you are going to go to your room. So they come and escort you. You take your bucket, you take all your belongings, you go up to your room, and then you just have a very calm thing, and it's called Discovery Day. And like the idea is no social media, no reading books, no anything. You just sit with yourself because the medicine is still in you. You're still like, this medicine lasts a long time. This trip is very long. So mine was actually one of the longest of the entire group. I was in the medicine for 32 hours. That is a long time, I know. But when I got back to my room, it was still like when I got comfy and cozy in the covers, and like after I threw up, after moving, it made me, want to throw up. Um, and I got in bed and I still could ask questions. And it was just such a special time. It's hard for me to put in words because it's like I should be able to tell you many more questions that I asked and got answers to, which I did, but I can't really recall like exactly like that. There's something loud. I hope you can still hear me. Um, so this in my bed went on for a while. Okay, so as I could kind of feel the medicine wearing off a little bit, the reason why I could feel it wearing off is because I didn't have the bleedy music, but the cicadas were supplying this music, and it was like this click. And when I zeroed in on the click, I could focus on different things. So I saw more visions, I saw more memories, I asked more questions, that kind of thing. But I could feel that I wasn't being able to focus on the image very much. So I could feel that it was going away, and as I thought that thought, the Scrabble board came back on the screen, like the whole Scrabble board, and then there was like this tray, and then it just started falling to pieces and falling into this tray, and then it just gently moved off the screen, and like that told me that okay, like we can no longer communicate with letters and words.
So the words fell off into the trash can. Then, as I asked questions, then a map appeared, the full map, and then it slowly started crumbling down to the trash can. Gently swooshed off the screen. And then I knew places and showing me places was over. And then lastly, like I would ask a question and it would just like gently go up to a color or a texture. And it was also like I couldn't see it as clearly. It started to be like more blurry. And then it kind of went down on the left hand into this black ball, like a kind of like a TV screen would just like shoop. And then it was over. And that's about 32 hours later. I finally was like, knew that it was over and out of my system, even though it stays in your system for up to 6 months. One more thing that I didn't mention, two more things. During my Vision Quest one, he put some pygmy dust right here, and he started tapping and like doing some things and like having me repeat things and like a couple things. And eventually, he said, look south, look north, and then it was kind of like a sky, like a solar sky. And he said, do you see that thumping? And I could see every time he thumped, I could see it in my mind screen. It was wild. So he was like, you see it? And I was like, yeah. I was like, oh my gosh. And then that is supposed to be your third eye, with like intuition, spirituality. So they say that when it's closed on somebody, it's I don't even know the word, but if you have an open third eye, you have more of a sense of yourself, more of a oneness. So you want that to be open. So he did that to some people at the thing, and they did not see the thumping at all. I saw some colors. It was wild. And then the second thing that I wanted to say that I forgot to say is at the very end, right before the screen went black when it was just doing colors, it showed like a dry erase board with all of these calculations on it, and then it was stacked. Like I could see different realms. Somehow I knew there were realms. I don't know how, but it's like every one had its own writings on them, and there were got to be 20, 30, different realms and different colors with all the writing. And then we were in a solar sky during that time where I saw the like E equals M. What is it? M. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. All those kind of calculations were on there of math type of things. So, um, after I got out of the medicine, I went to sleep. I woke up at 2 in the morning. I saw that it was 2 in the morning, and I went into the other room and got a banana and some crackers and like whatever I could find in the kitchen. And then went back to sleep, woke up the next morning, showered, and felt like $1,000,000. Like everyone that came up the stairs was like, oh my gosh, you look so light. You look so good. You look so different. Like that kind of thing. So like takeaways that have happened to me, since I've been home for a little bit. I am much less irritated. I have I have no inner dialogue that goes in a weird direction, like when something goes wrong, like when somebody does something that you don't want, or something is just not what you were thinking. Instead of anything, I just want to tell the person exactly what it is and move on. And I don't get mad. Um, Another thing is like I was on the phone with Airbnb for 2 hours, and usually I feel this like stress in my neck deep, and I did not feel that. I was on the phone with 2 hours, and I was like, whatever happens, happens. It's kind of like there's nothing wrong, and it really doesn't feel like there's anything wrong with the day. I also am not drinking alcohol, and I'm deciding to do that because what I heard, I can't not hear, but I don't think it meant like I could never have alcohol. It's just that I can't let it to be in excess like that. And right now, um, they say that the medicine in you stays in you for 6 months, but if you drink alcohol, it washes it all out. So like you can be altered by other plant medicines and THC and mushrooms or whatever, but just alcohol is like the lowest form of poison that you can get to lower your vibration. So, yeah, it's not for me, especially because my sleep's been amazing. And then the other takeaway 50% of the people are Republican, 50% of the people are Democrat, give or take. And it's like nobody is bad, everybody is good. I don't know. I don't know how to tell you that I can see that, but I can. So I hope you enjoyed this long YouTube video, and I'm going to splice them all together and share this. And I also wrote this entire account on Substack, so you can look for me as Lisa is Local Rights.